All right, test tomorrow is on 2.4 through 2.8. It's 10 questions. So looking at the first section, you're going to have an average rate of change question with a graph, or you'll have two with graphs. So it's different than what you had on the quiz, where we had average rate of change with a word problem and with an equation. Here, I think the graph one is way easier. You just have to find the point on the graph. So it gives us our x1. We need to find our y1. So when x is -4, what's our y? 0. And then when x is 0, what's our y?
0.
So y2, no, what's this point? 1. So y2 would be 1. Then we're going to plug it into our slope formula. So average rate of change is still the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is 1 minus 0 over 0 minus -4. 1 minus 0 is what? 1. 0 minus -4 is +4. So our answer would be 1 over 4. Yes. Next, we're going to do number 3. So it gives us our x1 and our x2. We want to find our y1 and our y2. So when x is -3, what's our y?
3.
3, perfect. We're looking at that point. So we go to where x is -3, go to our graph. Our y is 3. When x is 4, what's our y? -3. Now let's plug it into our slope formula. So y2 minus y1 would be -3 minus 3 over x2 minus x1. So 4 minus -3. -6 over 7. All right, let's take a look at number 4. So this question's just like what you guys had on the quiz. To determine if something's even, odd, or neither algebraically, you want to plug in a number and its opposite. You have to plug in a number greater than 1. So the most common mistake that people made here was that they plugged in 1 and -1 and got the wrong answer. So plug in 2 and -2 and see what you get. If you get opposite answers, it's going to be odd. If you get the same answers, then it's even. And if you get totally different answers, then it'll be neither. So looking at number 4, let's plug in 2 and -2. So when we plug in 2, we have 6 times 2 to the 3rd power minus 5 over 2 times 2 squared plus 7. Make sure you follow your order of operations when you're doing the math here. We have to do the exponents first. What's 2 to the 3rd power?
8.
So we have 6 times 8 minus 5 over, what's 2 to the 2nd power? So 2 times 4 plus 7. What's 6 times 8? 48 minus 5. 2 times 4? 8 plus 7. So 48 minus 5 is what? 43 over 15. Can this be simplified? No. So we'll leave it like that. Let's plug in -2 now. So we're going to do the same thing, but plug in -2. So we have 6 times -2 to the 3rd power minus 5 over 2 times -2 to the 2nd power plus 7. What's -2 to the 3rd power? -8. So this would be 6 times -8 minus 5 over, what's -2 to the 2nd power? So 2 times 4 plus 7 in our denominator. What's 6 times -8? -48 minus 5. -53. And then in our denominator, we have 8 plus 7. What's 8 plus 7? 15. So did we get the same answer? Did we get opposite answers? No, they're not the same number, but opposites. They're totally different answers. So what would our answer be?
Neither.
Neither. Make sure you guys are answering the question. Some people on the quiz just put same. That doesn't answer the question. You have to say, is it even, odd, or neither? All right, you're going to have 2 questions on the quiz describing the transformations, so make sure you guys know your transformations. When you multiply by a negative on the outside, what does that do to your graph?
Oh no, reflection over x-axis.
Reflection on the x-axis. Remember, outside, when it's on the outside, it's the x-axis. What about when we multiply by 4?
Oh, vertical shift. Oh no, vertical shift.
Vertical what? Stretch. It's greater than 1, so it's a stretch. What happens when we add 7? Left 7 when it's on the inside. Perfect. And then when we subtract 9? Down 9. So 7, when we multiply by a negative on the inside, what does that do to our graph?
Reflect over y-axis.
Reflection on the y-axis. When we multiply by a number that's greater than 1 on the inside, horizontal shrink, because it's the opposite on the inside. So since 5 is greater than 1 and it's on the inside, it's the opposite. It's a shrink.
To the left, 8 units.
Perfect. When we add on the inside, it's to the left 8
Up 1, up 1, up 1.
and up 1. All right, let's look at number 8. So here we're adding our 2 functions together. So make sure you pay attention to the letters of what you're doing. So we're adding f plus g. So I'm going to take my f function and my g function and add them together. So this would be 3 minus x squared plus 1 over x squared minus 4. This you can just leave. If you had like terms, make sure you add them together. Simplify. You don't have to here. You can just leave it. No like terms here. What if you had a question that said f minus h of x? So we're going to use the third equation. So f is 3 minus x squared. Then be careful when you are subtracting the third one. So minus, put the third equation in parentheses. 4x plus 7. Because when you're subtracting, what do we have to do? What would we do next here? Distribute the negative. So when you're subtracting, put the second one in parentheses because you're going to have to distribute the negative. So here we have 3 minus x squared minus 4x minus 7. Any like terms that we can combine? What's 3 minus 7? So negative x squared minus 4x minus 4. This would be our answer. There's no domain on the test, so don't worry about the domain. Let's do number 9 next. So 9 says g times h. So our g is 1 over x squared minus 4 times h, which is 4x plus 7. So when we multiply these together, when we multiply with fractions, just put the whole number over 1 and just multiply the tops together and the bottoms together. So we'd get 4x plus 7 on top over x squared minus 4 in the denominator. So that would be our answer. So when you're multiplying, just multiply them together. What if I was multiplying f times h? So looking at f and h, what would we have to do there to multiply them together?
Foil.
You'd have to FOIL. No, because in f and h, neither one's a fraction. So when you multiply it, you would just FOIL them together. Yeah. So let's look at number 10. So f divided by g. F is 3 minus x squared divided by g, which is 1 over x squared minus 4. What do we do when we have a fraction in a fraction? Perfect. we're going to keep the top, change to multiplication, and flip the bottom. So the bottom's going to flip to x squared minus 4 over 1. Now when I multiply these together, how do you think I can multiply the numerators? What do I have to do? Foil. We got to foil these together. We love foiling. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times negative 4, negative 12. Negative x squared times x squared, negative x to the 4th power. And negative x squared times negative 4, positive 4x squared. What do you think we have to do next? Combine like terms. So negative x to the 4th power. We have 3x squared plus 4x squared would be 7x squared minus 12. That is our answer. Don't have to put over 1, because if you put something over 1, it's just the whole number. So with number 11, we have g divided by h. So starting with g, that is 1 over x squared minus 4, divided by h, which is 4x plus 7. What do we do when we have a fraction in a fraction? Keep, change, flip. We're going to keep the top, change to multiplication, and flip the denominator. Our denominator is technically just a whole number here. It would be over 1. When I flip it, we'd get 1 over 4x plus 7. Now, how would we multiply these together? So here we're multiplying our denominators. What do we do to multiply the denominators? Again, we have to FOIL. So because we're multiplying, we have to FOIL. So x squared times 4x would be 4x to the 3rd power. X squared times 7, 7x squared. Negative 4 times 4x, negative 16x. And negative 4 times 7. Now, is this in the numerator or the denominator? What would our numerator be? 1. Do I have any like terms I can combine? Nope. So this would be our answer. 1 over 4x to the 3rd power plus 7x squared minus 16x minus 28. Again, don't worry about the domain. There's no domain questions on the test. So with your questions like these, we didn't practice any, but you could have some that say f plus g of 4. You could have a number here. So if there is a number, you're just plugging in that number. So add them together, then plug in the number. Same thing, multiply them together, then plug in the number. So it's the same steps. Or if you wanted to, you could plug in the number first into both of them and then add it together. The order that you do it doesn't matter. If you want more practice with these types of questions, make sure you go look at the WebAssign. There are lots of these on the WebAssign. So if the question had f plus g of 4, your answer is going to be a number. You'll plug in a number, work it all out. Your answer is just a number. If it has f plus g of x, your answer is going to have the x's in it. So if it's a number, if it tells you to plug in a number, plug it in, your answer is going to be a number. But if it's just x, if you have x in the question, your answer is going to have the x's in it. All right, on the next page, we have our composition functions. These are when we put one function inside the other. So it could be written like this, where it kind of looks like fog. It says f of g of x. Or it could be written as f of g of x. So these mean the same thing. It's probably going to be written like this way on the test. But if it's written either way, they mean the same thing. What's going on the inside here? What's on the inside of the parentheses? G. So I'm going to take G and put that inside the f function. So I'm going to take everything in G, plug it in the x in my f function. So you always start with the inside one. So the second one is going to be your inside. So we have 4 times, now in the, where x is, I'm plugging in g. So 5 minus x squared minus 2. the 4 here.
Also, everywhere, so wherever X is in F,
So wherever
you're putting G in there?
wherever X is in F, that's where I'm putting G in.
Oh.
Now let's simplify. What would we do to simplify here? Distribute. So 20 minus 4x squared minus 2. What else could we do? Combine like terms. So negative 4x squared
18.
plus 18. Awesome. So that would be your answer. Let's do 13. What's going to go on the inside here? F is going to go inside of H. Now it could also be written like H of F of X. These mean the same thing, but F is going to go on the inside. So we're going to take our function for F, and we're going to plug that into the X in H. So we have 3 times, now I'm plugging in F. So 4x minus 2 minus 1. What would we do here? Distribute, so 12x minus 6 minus 1. Combine like terms. 12x minus 7. 14's the same. I think that 1 is just a typo. So here it's just G of H of X. What's going to go on the inside here? H, so the second one goes on the inside. So we're going to take H and plug it into what? G. So we have 5 minus, now in that X, I'm going to plug in H. So 3x minus 1 squared. We're putting H inside of G. So it's always the second one that goes on the inside.
So why did you put inside?
I think it's a typo. I think that the parentheses should actually be, yeah, it would be written like G of H of X, like this. All right, here, how do we simplify? How do we square 3x minus 1? FOIL, we have to write it twice and FOIL it out. You absolutely cannot distribute the squared. You got to write it twice and FOIL it out. So what's 3x times 3x? 9x squared. 3x times negative 1. Negative 3x. Negative 1 times 3x. Negative 3x. And negative 1 times negative 1. Positive 1. What do we do next? Combine like terms. Oh, actually, yes, I lied. We have to distribute. That negative is touching the parentheses. We have to multiply the negative to everything we just FOILed. So we want to distribute the negative first. Good catch. So we have 5 minus 9x squared plus 3x minus 1. Because that negative was touching the parentheses, it's being multiplied to it. So we have to distribute it to everything in the parentheses. So after we FOILed, because we can't distribute it into the parentheses when it's still squared, when it has an exponent, after we FOILed, we're going to distribute the negative. Now we can combine our like terms. So I have negative 9x squared. What's 3x plus 3x? 6x. And 5 minus 1? 4. It's negative 9x squared plus 6x plus 4. All right, let's do number 15. So there's 2 different ways that we can do 15. I'm going to erase this up here. We can plug in F into G first. So just like we were doing, plug in F into G and then plug in negative 2, or we can start by plugging in negative 2 into F. So we always work from the inside out. So I'm going to start by plugging in negative 2 into F. So when I plug in negative 2 here, We have 4 times negative 2 minus 2. What's 4 times negative 2? And negative 8 minus 2? Negative 10. So f of negative 2 is negative 10. Now I want to find g of negative 10. So you plug it into the first one, get an answer, take that answer, plug it into the second one. So we're going to plug in negative 10 into the g. So 5 minus negative 10 squared. Make sure you square it before, don't make it positive first. So you can't combine the negatives together. You have to square it first. What's negative 10 squared?
100.
Positive 100. So 5 minus 100 would be what?
95.
Negative 95. So our answer here would be negative 95. So start by plugging it into the f, get an answer, and then plug that into the g. To always work from the inside out. Any questions on that one? Let's do the same thing for 16. What do I do first? We're going to plug 3 into g. So when I plug 3 into g, we have 5 minus 3 squared. So 5 minus 9 is what?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. What do we do next?
Plug it into the h.
We're going to plug it into h, so we're going to find h of negative 4 now. So we just take that answer and plug it into the second one. So when we plug in negative 4 into h, we have 3 times negative 4 minus 1. What's 3 times negative 4?
Negative 12.
And negative 12 minus 1?
Negative 13.
Negative 13. So our answer would be negative 13. For 17, what would we start with?
H.
H. So you want to plug in 1 into h, get an answer. Then what would you plug it into?
G.
Then plug it into g. And then what would you plug it into? Then plug that answer into f. So here you just have 3. It's the same steps. You won't have one with 3 on the test, so don't stress about it. But just know that you work from the inside out. So always start with the inside. So we want to find the inverse algebraically. What do we do to find the inverse?
Oh, just flip the x and y.
Switch the x and y. So we switch the x and y, and then what's the second thing that we need to do?
Do the algebra steps.
Solve for what?
Y.
Solve for y. So we want to get it to be y equals. So let's switch the x and y. F of x is just a fancy way of saying y. So that's going to become our x. And x is going to become y. So we have x equals 7y squared plus 6. So switch the x and y first. Then solve for x. Or solve for y, sorry. Rearrange the right side. What would we do first to get y all by itself?
Subtract 6.
Subtract 6. X minus 6 equals 7y squared. What would we do next?
So square.
Divide by 7.
And then square.
So x minus 6 over 7 equals y squared. How do we get rid of the squared?
Square.
Square root both sides. So we have the square root of x minus 6 over 7 equals y. What's the very last thing that we need to do? Put the inverse symbol. We got to put that little negative 1 on the y. Let's do 19. So let's switch the x and y. So g of x is a fancy way of saying y. That's going to become our x, and x is going to become y. So we have x equals 7 minus 5y squared over 4. Now we want to undo everything on the right side of the equation. So what should we do first?
Multiply by 4.
Perfect. Since 4 is being divided, we do the opposites. We're going to multiply both sides by 4. So it'll cancel out here. So we have 4x equals 7 minus 5y squared. Bless you. What should we do next?
Divide by negative 5.
Divide, or before we divide, what do we have to do?
Oh, subtract 7.
Subtract 7. So 4x minus 7 equals negative 5y squared. Then what?
Divide by negative 5.
Now we divide by -5. So 4x minus 7 over -5 equals y squared. How do we get rid of the squared?
Square.
Square root both sides. So we have y equals the square root of 4x minus 7 over -5. What's the very last thing that we have to do? Put the little -1 symbol. We gotta write the inverse symbol. All right, let's take a look at 20. So h of x is going to become x is going to become y. So x equals 6 plus the square root of 2 plus y. Julian, what should we do first?
Subtract 6.
Subtract 6. So x minus 6 equals the square root of 2 plus y. How do we get rid of the square root now?
Power.
Square both sides. We're going to raise both sides to the power of 2. So when you do that to the left side, since we have more than one thing on our left side of the equation, put it in parentheses. We have x minus 6 squared equals, you do not have to FOIL. So leave it just like this. You don't have to FOIL. Do not. Nope. Just leave it like this. What should we do next? Subtract 2. Now that 2 is going outside of the parentheses, so it's the last thing that we do. So x minus 6 squared minus 2 equals y. What are we missing? Little inverse symbol.